of the other things I really love that I'm seeing is our evaluation of the offensive line in South Florida. And being able to go find, because I'm big on Jimmy's and Joe's. I mean, you know what, I'm X's and O's guy. I've been, doing X's and O's for a while here on YouTube. But one thing you understand is that at the end of the day, you got to have the players who can get it done. You can have a really good culture, really good. I mean, you can have really good coaches with a team full of 2- and 3-star go-getters. And yeah, maybe in '05, you could probably win something big, like the Rose Bowl or something. But there's a reason why Baylor and TCU ain't in the playoffs. Okay, because they may have a great scheme, really good coordinators on each side. But there comes a point when you're lining up against the better players. If they have the same coaching, they have a similar culture, it's not close. It's not. So I really like the way that we're starting to come down on the 3 stars on our roster, because at a place like Miami, you need to be a standout 3-star to be on our field, in my unhumble opinion. The fact that we got Al Blaze Jr. and DJ Ivy, 2 3-star recruits, starting at such an important position of corner, it's not good. It's not good. If you want to be if we want to be Oak State, K-State, Oregon State, Washington, if we want to be a team like that, by all means. But if we want to ever get to the top tier, you can't have guys like that on the field. You just can't. You can't have a guy like Amari Carter, who's a liability in coverage in a too-high system. Make that make sense to me. Okay. And of course, we haven't been that, Mark. So our program, it's not like we could just, like I keep saying, snap our fingers and have the best players on our team. But as of right now, we got to build a culture to it. Those young men feel comfortable coming here. One of the biggest things people are going to pay attention to, especially on the fronts, Navaughn Donaldson and Nesta Silvera. Here's why. Navaughn Donaldson is the highest rated offensive lineman we've had since Central Henderson. Had a great freshman year, been downhill since. If he could bounce off of that ground and come back up to even where he was as a freshman or a little above, that'll say something to South Florida offensive linemen. Nesta Silvera had an injury first year, a solid second year, a pretty good third year, and decided to come back. He will be our first senior defensive tackle starter, Mark, since Allen Bailey in 2010. 11 years. We're separated a junior who was a big-time contributor returning to be a senior at defensive tackle. It's game-changing. I really love to see that, because I was very nervous that he had a pretty good second half of the season and that he was going to depart. So that means that being able to have him there, being able to have John Ford and Jordan Miller for another year, just getting those guys, and they may not be household first-round draft pick names, but to have them come back and have another year in your system means they should get better. Of course, they're going to get bigger and stronger. That just happens from lifting weights all the time. But they should get better for the betterment of our program. So seeing our recruitment on the offense and defensive line, you look at these top-tier teams, yes, it was saddening to see Alabama's whole secondary is from South Florida, Gator, Broward County. Maybe 1 or 2 or 3, or all of them would be somewhere in the big 3 if we were all holding up our end of the table. But how could you argue with Nick Saban sitting down and saying, how countless rings, countless All-Americans, you'll be a first-round draft pick? Or you can make the emotional decision and go to Miami. Okay? We want Miami to be an emotional but also a business decision. All right? Meaning that we're really building something here at Miami. I don't know if we're doing it as of right now, but I love some of what we're laying down. I love it.
So, wholesome one, what you said about Navaughn Donaldson, to go back to him, what that says to me on the surface is that it's a development issue from the coaching staff, because if you recruit a tremendous player in high school, he comes in and he just underachieves from day one, then without us being on the practice field and in the film room and so forth, and in the weight room, we don't know whether it was a lack of development, a bad fit, that they placed, placed him in the wrong situation, whatever, or just the kid came in and thought, I'm a high 4-star. I can just run on the field and be given whatever I've got. And he didn't work for it. He didn't want it enough. And the coaches did all they could. And they just had to say, you know what, we got other players. We're going ahead with them. But when a player steps on the field as a freshman, achieves, plays well, and then comes the decline, then you got to wonder about the coaching.
Yeah. I've had that argument a lot on here because I've seen it both ways. I've seen young men come in and we were running a bad scheme, so Chad Thomas happens. And you got a player who was a strong side defensive end in high school, played a little 3 technique because he's 6'6" in Dade County. That doesn't happen. He was 6'6", 245 in Dade. We don't get players like that. So he moves on to Miami, and he comes here and has to play a 4-eye technique instead of a true 5. The 2 years he's in a 5 technique makes him a draftable football player. He goes to the NFL. Now, he falls out the league because his love wasn't football. He likes to make beats and rap. Okay, congratulations. Not everyone can do that. That's a great job. But a scheme like that can open up for Kendrick Norton, who was an offensive guard in high school, to come in and play your 1 technique and get drafted. RJ McIntosh moving from holding gaps to shooting on the other side of the line of scrimmage. He's a 5th-round draft pick. Still in the NFL. Made a second contract. So imagine if a guy like Anthony Chickalo, who played that way his first 2 years, had that opportunity his second 2 years to play as just a true 4-3 defensive end and get out to the QB and stop the run on the way to the QB. So there was some issues at Miami in the schemes that we were running and the technique that we were teaching our players. But at the same time, I'm hoping that we can get on the other side of that. Because now you fixed the scheme. You fixed some of the players. You're working on, you fixed some of the coaches, and now you're working on bringing in the top tier players. So you see it, Mark, they're piecing it. They're piecing. They're working. But do I want it microwave style? No, I want it in the oven. I want it cooked. I want to make sure that the oven has been heating. I already prepped the food. I've made sure I've rinsed off my chicken. I've seasoned that chicken. I've had it, sitting in some water and some oils, ready to put it in there. And I keep coming back and checking on it every now and again to make sure that it's right with the timer on. I don't want to just throw a raw chicken in a microwave and expect it to taste like it's coming from, the Cheesecake Factory. All right. So I want it to it's going to take time to grow and be done right and cooked all the way through. But when it's done, I want to make sure it's cooked perfectly. Not rushed because we wanted it to be done faster. Not left in and now we're missing on recruits because we left the chicken in the oven too long. Just make sure we're going about it oven style, we're going old school. But at the same time, I want it to be done right.
Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We talk Miami at least once a week, usually multiple times a week, live. So we appreciate everybody jumping on here and show some appreciation to the Wholesome One. Check out his YouTube channel, the Wholesome One Holloway. Get on over there. And of course, we'll let you know that this is the deal. This is what we do full time right here. So we will succeed going forward based on your individual contributions and our ability to get sponsorships and other revenue streams circulated. So if you've got any great ideas in regards to sponsors, and again, I've said this many times and I've misstepped, and then I get the email from people that say, why don't you have Nike as a sponsor? All right, great. Thank you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a real contact or information that you can give me. So if you've got contact, I can go that far to figure, yeah, it would be great if we had Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods as sponsors. Thank you. Sure. No, if you have a business yourself or are connected to a business where you can give me some real contact information to sponsor this show or any of our shows or channel overall, then please hit me up at MarkRogersTV at gmail.com.